Suvendu Adhikari and Mamata Banerjee were face to face today in Bhabanipur. And shortly after that, there are reports coming in of Lathicharge. All right, on your screens right now, Suvendu Adhikari, whose cavalcade was just outside one of the polling booths in Bhabanipur, while Mamata Banerjee was seated inside. Both came face to face, further intensifying tensions on ground, and now there are reports of Lathicharge in Bhabanipur. In a dramatic movement, there's reports there, of course, coming in of Lathicharge, but just a short while ago, Suvendu Adhikari's convoy was seen standing still in Bhabanipur as Mamata Banerjee was seated inside. It's a high voltage political face-off in Mamata Banerjee's bastion. Both Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari came face to face today at a polling booth. And now reports emerging of a lathi charge in Bhabanipur. All right, for the uninitiated, your visuals on the screens right now are coming live from Bhabanipur. It's the bastion of Mamata Banerjee, where a high-voltage political face-off is unfolding as we speak. Just a short while ago, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari, who are fighting from that very seat, came face-to-face at the same polling booth. It was a dramatic moment. Suvendu Adhikari's convoy was seen standing still in Bhabanipur, further intensifying tensions. And now there are reports coming in of a lathi charge. We'll try and get you more details. My colleague Sabya is joining us live with more details. Sabya, within minutes of that face-off between Suvendu Adhikari and Mamata Banerjee, who arrived at the same polling booth just a short while ago, now reports coming in of a lathi charge.
Suvendu Adhikari, in fact, have alleged that fake voters are being caught in different polling booths in Bhabanipur. And Mamata Banerjee in the morning breaking all the tradition. We have seen that Mamata Banerjee does not step out of her house when there is polling. She usually stays at her residence and monitors the entire situation from there. But today she decides to be on ground. In fact, the visuals were coming in where she was seen visiting every single constituency in Bhabanipur. Now, serious allegation also coming in from the Trinamool Congress, where the Trinamool Congress have alleged that the BJP is trying to rig the vote. In fact, the Trinamool Congress also says that several of the Trinamool Congress workers and party members were arrested or detained by the police after the Observer pressurized the local police to arrest and detain the Trinamool Congress party workers. Now, Mamata Banerjee also alleged that one of the Trinamool Congress party worker was beaten and she also came down to that particular location. Now, Suvendu Adhikari, who is continuously visiting different polling booths across Bhabanipur, now reports are coming in that there was lathi charge. Force was used by the CRPF and the state police to normalize the situation. There was reportedly a clash between the Trinamool Congress workers and the Trinamool Congress BJP and the Trinamool Congress workers in Bhabanipur. And the reports are continuously coming in from various parts of South Kolkata, whether it is Hooghly, Nodia or South Chobbish Pargana in Diamond Harbour in Falta, where lathi charge was used by the central forces to normalize the situation. Meanwhile, we are also getting reports where the BJP is alleging that in Falta, in South Chobbish Pargana, the BJP name in the EVM has been taped, and the BJP has demanded that repolling should happen in the constituencies where malpractice are being reported, and the CEO of West Bengal has sought for a detailed report in this regard, and he has assured that if the malpractice allegations are proven, then these seats are going to see repolling once again. Now, huge tension in Bhabanipur. On the visuals, we can see that the CRPF using force to disperse the crowd. Already we are seeing that in several of the polling booths, there has been long queues. The voters allege that the voting has been slow because of certain EVM problems, and the Trinamool Congress, the BJP workers are clashing against each other on ground. Shweta.
Workers are clashing with each other on ground. That's the news coming in from Bhabanipur. Specifically, reports have now come in of a face-off between TMC and BJP workers, with many suggesting that Suvendu Adhikari was faced with protest in Bhabanipur, post which the CRPF jumped into action. What looks like now is an attempt being made by the central agencies to disperse the crowd there at one of the polling booths. Listen to what Suvendu Adhikari had to say. All right, we don't have a reaction, but clearly a very charged atmosphere there, come to think of it. With Bhabanipur, of course, the bastion of Mamta Banerjee, facing a very strong protest by the TMC workers and the BJP workers, both supporting their leaders, both of whom happened to have a face-off Sabya just a short while ago. Both of them arrived at the same booth at the same time. Suvendu Adhikari and his convoy was outside while Mamta Banerjee was inside. Very unlike Mamta Banerjee to actually be on ground. Many people are suggesting, therefore, that this is a sign that there are perhaps jitters within TMC, or what BJP is hopefully going to gain by the virtue of votes. I mean, there will be more clarity on 4th of May. But as of today, it looks like TMC is acting like the opposition instead of acting like the ruling party in BJP, with Mamta Banerjee breaking her own record.
Well, Shweta, see, the Trinamool Congress, the Bhabanipur is a stronghold of the Trinamool Congress of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. She has been born and brought up in Bhabanipur. She started her political journey from Bhabanipur. She has associated with Bhabanipur for almost 6 decades. And since 2021, we saw that the Bhabanipur voting for Mamata Banerjee, she defeating the Bharatiya Janata Party with a margin of 58,000. Now, unlike 2021, where Mamata Banerjee fought Suvendu Adhikari in Nandigram, where Nandigram is a stronghold of Suvendu Adhikari, and she lost the poll by a margin of 1900 votes. And this time it's the opposite, where Suvendu Adhikari has challenged Mamata Banerjee in Bhabanipur. Now the scenario in Bhabanipur also has changed a lot, Shweta. We have already, we used to see that there was a loyalist of voters for Mamata Banerjee, the female voters. And Bhabanipur, what makes Bhabanipur more interesting is that 70% of the voters in Bhabanipur are Hindus, and there's a mixture of Gujaratis, Marwadis and people from the other communities, where out of 70%, 42% is Bengali-speaking Hindus. Now, Suvendu Adhikari and the Bharatiya Janata Party see Bhabanipur as an opening, because the BJP somewhere have focused their campaign on polarizing the Hindu votes, and unlike in 2021, where they were straight away attacking Mamata Banerjee, this time they have reduced the personal attack on Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and focused the attack more on corruption and the alleged scams where Trinamool Congress leaders were involved. And the BJP has tried to polarize the Hindu voters. So BJP sees definitely sees it as an opening, and with a lot of things changing in Bhabanipur over the year, and Bhabanipur used to be a cluster of slums before, but right now, because of high-rise building, a lot of new voters, new people have come into Bhabanipur, and a lot of the old people have moved out, which definitely caused a dent to Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. And the TMC somewhere is not used to seeing so much security personnel present on ground, because in 2021 also we had seen massive deployment of security personnel, but nothing like what we are seeing today. Over 2.5 lakh security personnel have been deployed on ground. NIA, Enforcement Directorate, all the agencies are on ground, and that is the reason why Mamata Banerjee made the statement that she and Abhishek Banerjee could not sleep the entire night as atrocities was being are done against the Trinamool Congress party workers across South Bengal, as they were continuously arrested. In fact, Mamata Banerjee also alleged that the party flags and party posters were torn down by the BJP supporters. But one advantage that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has in comparison to Suvendu Adhikari is the support of the Mahila voters and the Muslim voters on ground. The 2M is going to be extremely...
That is now also under question, with a lot of experts also pointing out that there is a sentiment against Mamata Banerjee as far as female voters is concerned. And when it comes to consolidation of votes, whether the Muslim vote has now been split open and the BJP is consolidating Hindu votes. So while we're reading of an exorbitant number of people coming out, while we're reading of record number of voters turning up to polling booths, and that was the case in phase 1 of voting, record-breaking numbers in phase 1, over 90%. Now, the same record perhaps will be met or broken in phase 2 as well. But experts pointing out that this could go either ways. That may not necessarily be a vote for the BJP or vote against Mamata Banerjee. It could be a vote against SIR exercise for that matter as well. So the fact that people are coming out in large numbers could go either ways.
Well, Shweta, see, if you talk about the 3M, Mahila and the Muslim, it has been the decisive as far as West Bengal poll is concerned, and this has been the stronghold of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. But this time around, the huge turnout of voters that we are seeing in the first phase as well as the second phase is because of the migrants coming back to Kolkata, coming back to West Bengal in large numbers. It could be because of multiple reasons, because of fear or because of existence, that if they don't cast their vote, what will happen? And the migrant voters is something, Shweta, it is difficult to predict which way it will go. And definitely the corruption has reached the doorstep of Mamata Banerjee this time around, with the job scam in fact causing the most dent to the Trinamool Congress, because the large number of youth were involved, and they suffered a lot because of the corruption, and for several days they carried out protest in different parts of Kolkata. So somewhere we have seen that Mamata Banerjee has tried to change the narrative from there. She has tried to once again bring back the Bengali Ashmita, Bengali pride, insider, outsider, war against BJP and Trinamool. Mamata Banerjee bringing the fish war, stating that if BJP comes into power, then the fish will be stopped. And it took none other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself to come out with the reply from one of his campaign, where he said wherever there is NDA and BJP government, the fisheries, the production of fish have increased. But the major fact which is working, if you see, it's a closely battle between BJP and the Trinamool Congress. But here, if I have to give one point, I would give it to Mamata Banerjee because of the presence. Because Mamata Banerjee has been born and brought up in Bhabanipur. The entire South Kolkata has been the bastion or the citadel of the Trinamool Congress. And out of 142 seats which are going for polls today, 70 of the seats are such where the Muslim have been dominant or the decisive factor. And yes, in Bhabanipur, if you talk about Suvendu Adhikari, BJP, all of the heavyweights have campaigned. But the major question comes down that who has a far better reach or presence during the campaign when it comes down to the street. So in that point of view, Mamata Banerjee definitely holds an advantage in comparison to Suvendu Adhikari. Shweta.
All right, as far as the state of the constituency of Bhabanipur is concerned, Mamata Banerjee clearly holds, an upper hand over Suvendu Adhikari. But Suvendu Adhikari very confident there, suggesting that he's not only going to win, he's going to win by a margin of 30,000 votes. That's what he told the media just a short while ago. Also pointing to the fact that, that there is a strong anti-incumbency vote today. And that is exactly what many BJP supporters, workers, and politicians on ground are suggesting at the moment. The fact that people are coming out in large numbers is to vote against Mamata Banerjee. And after 15 long years, Mamata Banerjee is now facing an extremely strong contest. Whether her own bastion of Bhabanipur will be challenged by the BJP or not. Remember, last time around, Nandigram it was a stronghold of the BJP, and so therefore Suvendu Adhikari winning that stronghold made more sense. But Bhabanipur is where she belongs. She's the daughter of Bhabanipur. She's been there for about 6 long decades, as Sabyasachi was pointing out. So it will be difficult to defeat Mamta Banerjee from that seat. But while that seat is also under question, there are larger questions being raised on, the use of force, the use of baton, the use of Lathicharge. And although compared to last few elections for that matter, or even 2021, Sabyasachi, the reports of violence, threat, intimidation are relatively lower. So I think all in all efforts there and all the credits there to the Election Commission, at least when it comes to ensuring that these elections there is lesser violence, people are coming out more freely to vote.
Well, that's right, Shweta. As a comparison to 2021, this is absolutely nothing, because in 2021 there was pre-poll violence. Violence happened during polling. There was a large amount of allegation of rigged votes or malpractices, and we also saw what happened during the post-poll violence. So that is the reason why the ECI deployed a huge number of central forces on ground. Over 2.5 lakh central forces have been deployed, and the credit goes to ECI and the central forces to make sure that people come out in large numbers to cast their votes without any fear or intimidation. Now, from the first phase, we can make it out that there was no loss of life, nobody was killed during the polling, and there was no major crude bomb attacks during the first phase, or there was no complaint that was registered regarding repolling. And the ECI came up with a statement that during the first phase, not a single seat will go for repolling, as the poll was conducted in a peaceful manner. But when you come to the second phase has some seats which are extremely volatile or sensitive. When you look at North Chobbish Pargana, South Chobbish Pargana, or particularly you look about Bhangor. Now, Bhangor has been, if you call about the crude bomb capital, there has been over the year, in fact, there has been several incidents of crude bomb attacks in Bhangor. But today also, yes, there has been reports of violence, but not that much in comparison to 2021. And definitely the central forces have done their job well. In fact, the credit also goes to the ECI, because several directions were given by them. They issued the direction that all the antisocial elements have to be arrested within a certain period of time, and we saw arrest nearly of about 2,000 people before the state went for polls. And in fact, the direction also were given to the DGP, to the Commissioner, to the SP and other police officials, that they have to track all the crude bomb factories, or if there is any reports that if any house had crude bombs, these particular areas have to be located within 24 hours, and all the crude bombs have to be diffused immediately. So the ECI have worked on ground. They did their study after 2021, what exactly went wrong, and that is the reason why somewhere the Trinamool Congress is nervous. And today we could see it with Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee coming out of a residence, and it is very unlike Mamta Banerjee, because since 2000.
All right, Sabyasachi, thank you very much for those details. Of course, a record turnout registered in phase one. All credit where it's due to the Election Commission and the central forces, who've been able to ensure that these are relatively safer elections for West Bengal that has seen violence years after years. The 2026 election is a clutter breaker. It's a chain breaker. It's a path breaker, with very few incidents of violence coming to light, very few clusters that are reporting intermittent exchanges, people coming out, pushing each other, lathi charge, but just a few seats, barely a few seats, even lesser to cut out a percentage there. So West Bengal, they're writing history when it comes to non-violent elections in the state. Let's quickly listen into what Suvendu Adhikari in fact said just a short while ago. He was speaking of the election process and the voting in Bhabanipur.
मैं विजिट कर रहा हूँ, ये लोग वोटर्स नहीं है, आउटसाइडर, सीआरपी के टैक्सी आमी